LaVar's favorite team, the Washington Commandos, they are picking number 2 in the draft as it presently sits, and the Washington Commandos have hired Kliff Kingsbury to be their offensive coordinator. Now, we are still efforting to find out whether or not Kliff Kingsbury is bringing company with him to D.C., because the company he keeps is the company I want to keep. And Kliff Kingsbury spoke yesterday about the type of quarterback he's looking for in Washington, and also talked about just what he was able to take from his time with Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley last year.
When you look at today's NFL, what type of quarterback, like the ideal fit, the characteristics, the traits that you want to work with here in Washington?
The Chiefs quarterback.
That'd help.
No. I do think the game, as you can see, you watch those guys, Brock and him, at the end, like when money's on the table, you got to be able to make some plays with your feet, move around enough to escape a bad play. And it doesn't mean you got to run like Lamar or Kyler Murray, but you better be able to move a little bit and buy yourself some time, because the D-line, the rushes, the defense these days are so good. And then the intangibles, you want that player to be the hardest worker on your team. You want him to lead those guys each and every day when he shows up in the building. You want him to lift the building up, and that's why those guys make the type of money they do. He's a great kid, there's no doubt. And like I mentioned earlier, just getting to watch Lincoln from afar and observe him and how he coaches and how he schemes things up and his processes was huge. And then just being around the younger players and really diving back into the everyday teaching. Sometimes when you're a head coach, you step back from the one-on-ones a little bit, and this allowed me to get back into that vein.
So that was Kliff Kingsbury talking about his experience with Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley, and also what they're looking for at quarterback. So, which is all fine and dandy. Unfortunately, they don't have the number 1 pick. So that's where we're at there in Washington. Sorry, Var. Sorry about that.
Well, that doesn't mean they can't move up to take Caleb Williams with the number 1 pick. They could do that. The other thing is, like, we're all assuming that Caleb Williams is the number 1 overall pick for the Chicago Bears if they stay put and take him, or a team that trades up to take him. We don't necessarily know that, do we?
No.
Okay. I don't think we necessarily know it.
I mean, Jaden Daniels won the Heisman this season. He played phenomenal. You could put his stats next up to Joe Burrow's, and I know the season didn't work out quite the way they had hoped with the national championship, but Jaden Daniels played phenomenal this year. Drake May, not as good of a year this year on tape, but you go back to last year, watch him, you go, oh, okay, I can see a lot of the reasons why people are talking about him being potentially the top quarterback. So I think there's those 3 that could very well go 1, 2, 3. But I think it's interesting. We've all just went ahead and said, okay, we all get it. Like Caleb Williams is the top quarterback this class. I personally think he is, based on what I've seen, what I've watched. But I think there's other people who have differing opinions. There might be other teams that have differing opinions on that as well.
I'll say this, and I say this with urging people with caution. When you're talking about, we would love to have the guy that's in Kansas City. Where did he go in the draft? What was his pick? What was the number 10. That he went?
Number 10.
Okay, so here's the point I'm gonna make. What pick did Aaron Rodgers go?
24.
Okay. You don't know which one is going to be Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. Otherwise, we would have a correlation between number 1 draft picks and them being Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave it there. Like, I caution people on doing this, because the bottom line is you don't know who's going to turn out to be what once they get to the league. The league is a very different animal than college. It's just a different place. It's a different environment. There's a lot of moving parts. You just don't know who's going to, because for what it's worth, how many Patrick Mahomes have we seen in the past? How many Patrick Mahomes are in the NFL right now? Now, granted, Lamar Jackson won the MVP award. So that's I get that. Some might argue, well, there was a guy that played quarterback that was better than Patrick Mahomes this season. But there is no Patrick Mahomes other than Patrick Mahomes in the National Football League right now. So if you really take that into consideration, What are people like to put that on a kid that's coming out from college? Let that guy be who he's going to be. Because the moment somebody gets that labeling, and I'll be the first one to tell you, because I was labeled the next LT. Oh, he's L.A. It's not LT. It's
hell
L.A.
Yeah.
L.A. No, hell no.
Hell yeah.
Hell no.
What's wrong with Lawrence Tynes?
The bottom line, you stupid. The bottom line is that once you start labeling people that way, and that's what's happened with Caleb Williams. They are labeling him the next Patrick Mahomes. The problem that's going to happen is the fan base and the media are going to fall into the trap of measuring Caleb Williams off of Patrick Mahomes, and it's not fair and it's not right. Measure him off of being one of the quarterbacks that, what do they do? What's their body of work? How does that come across when he plays? Not, oh, well, he didn't do it like Patrick Mahomes. Oh, it didn't Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have done it that way. It's a trap and it's a setup, and I don't like it.
So, Caleb Williams painted his nails a few times in college, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know that Patrick Mahomes did that, so
Okay.
there's a big difference right there right away.
Because I'll say this. There is zero chance the Bears don't draft Caleb Williams. And, in fact, if the Bears don't draft Caleb Williams, I will paint my fingernails on the air. All right, and I'm willing to make that bet right now. There's zero chance they let him slide and trade anything to Washington. So have fun. This is a fun little, hey, what could be with Washington at number 2? No chance. No shot of it happening. And when I make predictions here on this show or at Fox Sports Radio, that stuff happens.
Not happen.
And I follow through with it. And you know that's true.
Dang.
There's evidence of that. Telling you. By the way, if Tony Romo gets $10 million a year, I'm getting a sex change.
Yeah, you still have not paid up on that bet, have you?
Nope.
Depends on who you're asking.
Jonas.
Yeah, depends on who you're asking.
We're asking you.
Well, you know, that was taken out of context, taken completely out of context, taken completely out of context. All right, that was spliced together by the crack editing staff here at Fox Sports Radio.
Dang.
And because of that,
Crack editing staff?
because of that, I don't.
You smoke crack, don't you?
Dang.
You smoke crack, don't you?
Well, go ahead and jump.
But there we are. Hey, by the way, you know on DraftKings.
Oh, no, you dusted it off.
You smoke crack, don't you?
By the way, you know on DraftKings, you can bet on a player to be drafted by which team, and Caleb Williams to be drafted by the Bears is a minus 400. The Commanders are plus 250. These are kind of interesting bets. You can almost call your shot as to who's going to get drafted where. The Patriots and Jaden Daniels are plus 150. They're the leader in the clubhouse right now. Cardinals and Marvin Harrison are the favorite, minus 200. You know, some fun stuff there. Also, Michael Penix Jr., the Seahawks are the favorite to draft him right now in DraftKings.
Mitch Trubisky was the last time they went high, right? The Bears.
What's wrong with Mitch Trubisky?
Oh, well, no, they got your boy that's there right now, Justin Fields.
Yeah, but hey, by the way, Mitch Trubisky was a Pro Bowler. So
Mitch Trubisky went before Patrick Mahomes.
Sure did.
In the draft.
Yes, he did.
And Massage Watson.
Do we even you know, this is the perfect time to dust him off. You know, let's bring him off of
He still might have to testify in public. There's still ongoing
did you
stuff.
see
On the
that?
advice of my lawyer, I assert my rights under the Fifth Amendment.
His agent still has to deal with that, so.
Oh, man. Does his agent have to deal with that?
Yeah, there's actually was a report out yesterday that he might have to testify again.
Yeah,
Somebody else
one
might
of the accusers really wants him to have to talk about what happened. Like they're not letting it go, and so that's still fun stuff there.
Is that something that you should say good for them? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's the off season. It's officially the off season. So Deshaun, if you're out there listening, or any of your representatives are listening, I'm going to beg for us to bring him off of the shelf so we can talk about him some more, because he might be the most interesting topic, you know, once we start running through some of this other stuff. So just be aware of that.
It's a good one to have in the holster.
It's a good one.
Yeah, right after the Final Four, we'll just see where we're at with Deshaun and go from there.